6 months has officially passed and I've seen 35 new horror releases so far. Now, in previous years, I haven't done a video like this, but last year I saw the most new horror releases with 41 movies. And with 35 being so close to 41, I decided to do this video to compare how the first half of 2026 looks compared to the later half of 2026, because by the end of this year, I'll probably see up to 70 new 2026 releases, and this list is going to be probably very different. Starting out with the worst of this year, my number 10 is going to be the worst movie of the year so far. My number 1 being not the worst horror movie of this year. Now, at number 10, I have Night Patrol. Night Patrol is a vampire horror movie that tells a story of a group of cops going after a certain group of people for a certain reason, and that group of people fighting against the cops. Now, when you think of a story like this, think of the most stereotypes ever on both ends, and that is what this movie is. Now, and it ends on a note that, again, I really wish they really wouldn't end on that note, but the ending is probably the least worst part of the entire movie when he's like brought back in to that room. But yeah, the stereotypes of this movie, you have cliches, it's just not good. And I've never left a movie thinking, oh, that was genuinely terrible. And I left a movie just feeling like that way. I've left movies thinking, oh, that was bad, but this movie, I never left a movie thought, oh, that was awful. And now it's been a couple months since I've seen this, but still, this is immediately I knew, like, that's gonna be the worst of the year so far. And I don't think this is gonna move unless something really, really awful comes along. This is probably not gonna move. But just above that, I have The Strangers Chapter 3. Now, interestingly, The Strangers Chapter movies is last year, The Strangers Chapter 2 was the worst horror movie of the year. The year before that, The Strangers Chapter 1. And this year, this is probably gonna be the first year that The Strangers Chapter movie is not gonna be the worst of the year. And this is just a movie full of any stereotype that can happen. It goes to really weird angles with Maya's character and how she kind of like trying to brought into the new stranger, which was, I'll give them that was interesting. But the way they kind of end it with kind of exploring cult stuff, trying to introduce that, kind of just defeats the whole purpose of who is the strangers, because the point is you don't know who they are, they go after you because they want to. And again, they have things like, she literally goes into a car and just like crashes into the car, and just so many little things like that in the entire movie. It's just not good. It's very forgettable. It's shot well, I'll give them that, but it's just not great. And the whole strangers, like the just chapters here have not been good, and this is easily the worst of the actual like chapters movies, easily. At number 8, I have Gale, Yellow Brick Road. This is basically a movie I would describe as a woman is trying to track down her grandmother. So she goes to a location to find her grandmother. And when she finds her grandmother, she finds herself in a bad situation when she is brought to where the Wizard of Oz is taking place. I can't think of the Land of Oz. This is just a very, I would describe it as more of a low budget movie. And I know I recently learned since the video came out, there's more than one Wizard of Oz movie and Wizard of Oz stories. I did not know that beforehand. But the Yellow Brick Road is terrible in this movie. It has lack of Oz. The Yellow Brick Road is really just random bricks on the road. Admittedly, I do have some fun with with one character with like the rags. I do have fun with that one character. And they do have like one sequence that I think is really good. It's really pretty with like the Oz and the land. I do have fun with that sequence, but the acting isn't great. The story, not the best out there. How it ends also kind of confusing with the dream thing at points. So it's just, again, not a great movie. It does have some moments that I'm like, like 1 or 2 moments I'm like, not bad. And I do enjoy that one character of the entire movie that I really do have fun with, but everything else, not memorable about this movie, not great about this movie at all. At number 7, I have This Is Not a Test. I was the only one in theaters when I went to see this movie, and this is just basically your typical zombie taking over the world movie, except most of it takes place in the high school. And this has a really bad opening too, really bad opening. But whenever you actually get outside of the school, literally it's all shaky cam with zombies, and that's really irritating. The actual like high school when you're in with the group is fine, but they do welcome like one person, and this person explains how they get in, and they take way too long to close up how that person actually does get in. And even at the very end, you see all of the characters and what happens to them, except for like one character, and I was like, come on, at least show that one character does. Like, that was interesting. The zombies looks are fine, not the best, not the worst. It's just your typical zombie movie, just not done very well. But if you've never seen a zombie movie before, it's fine. If you've seen other zombie movies before, it's not great. At number 6, I have Psycho Killer. Do I think this movie got like a lot of hatred when it first came out? People were saying it's awful, terrible, and unwatchable. Yes, it had a very low Rotten Tomato score. I think it was like 7% or 5% when I filmed my video. I can't remember. And now it is not that terrible. It is watchable, but this movie was all over the place. I think it was shot well. That one sequence in the hotel room with the colors, I do like, but where it goes, I think they had an interesting idea with the cult and the serial killer kind of put together, and that if it was like that entire movie, I would probably liked it more. I think that was like the bit of the movie that actually was pretty interesting for me. But besides that, the rest of the movie was pretty forgettable, pretty boring. I mean, yeah, besides that one sequence in the hotel, everything else with the movie, not great. And I wasn't even a big fan of the mask. Now, I don't remember how I originally thought about it, but not a fan of the actual look of the Psycho Killer. It could have been more interesting if they tried. But at number 5, I have The Mortuary Assistant. This was probably like the most recent, honestly, second most recent of all of these movies. But this basically tells a story of a assistant who wants to work for this person doing this job. When she uncovers a truth about what is going on, she must decide if she wants to continue with this practice when she learns the unsettling truth or not. Now, the first half of this movie, they kind of like the autopsy of Jane Doe kind of angle, but then they turn the movie into something else at the later half. The first half of the movie, I'm fine with, all right? I'm cool with the first half of the movie. That was decently enough. I think acting-wise, with what they're given, it's fine. But then they kind of go this weird angle in the movie that kind of like takes you kind of all over the place, where she chooses to basically stay towards the very end, and takes you all over the place, and you kind of lose it towards the end. Like, they could not decide what movie they wanted after they kind of made their switch with one certain switch. They didn't decide what movie they wanted to, and it did not work well in your favor. And you can feel the runtime of this movie too. Like, I felt the runtime of this movie. It was not great. At number 4, I have Return to Silent Hill. I thought this would probably end up lower when I first was ranking them, but Return to Silent Hill tells the story of a man based off the video game. And I haven't played the video game or any of the Silent Hill video games, so I don't really know anything about. I watched the first Silent Hill, but I don't know anything about the video games or the lore behind it. And I watched this with that kind of going in. First of all, this movie opens like, weirdly enough, like a commercial. I thought I was watching a commercial and realized, okay, this is the movie. That's just a weird little thing. And the way it ends is probably annoying too, because I don't fully understand the ending. And if you're gonna make it a movie, you can't have like would it work well as like a video game ending? Sure, but as a movie ending, it doesn't work at all. When you actually get to Silent Hill, it's a hit or miss. The CGI is not great in this movie. The nurse, there's like that one scene where they cut the floor, that doesn't look very good either. And the story again kind of all over the place as well, and it was just not good. It was more entertaining than the ones below it, sure, because there were some moments I'm like, okay. And some of the designs were better than others. The nurse scene, the actual nurse looked okay. I think that was not great. And you can definitely feel the runtime on this movie too. But the worst of it was the ending, because that ending, didn't care for. And then the route they went with having her kind of be the cult. Her dad, kind of, that was weird. But at number 3, I have Scary Movie 6. Now, this is the most recent addition. Now, let's go with some background. When it comes to the Scary Movie franchise, it is not the franchise for me. And to give this movie a fair chance, I watched all of their scary movies before this one, which is mainly a first time watch. I watched like 4 out of 6 movies of this franchise for the first time. Now, Scary Movie 6, again, I like to describe it as Scary Movie 1, but worse. It has the same kind of humor, just repeated throughout the entire movie. And this includes like jokes from previous Scary movies, kind of like the same kind of butt joke. Did it get some laughs out of me at certain bits? Sure. And that is why it is as above as it is, because I actually did laugh a little in this movie. But other than that, the ending, I'm cool with though. The ending, I did not mind. Do I feel like the last few minutes they tried to do an overkill joke? Yes, but when they leave the house and they're doing like, take our franchise back, I was fine with that ending. But just above Scary Movie 6, I have Hunting Matthew Nichols. This is a found footage movie that investigates a sister trying to figure out what happened to her brother. And this is just your typical found footage movie that is not done very well. You have a shaky cam, you have all the typical stuff you see acting wise. Again, I think it's fine. There's definitely some actors and scenes better than others. Where it goes is very predictable. You have seen a movie like this before, but it was just your pretty typical found footage movie, I would say. But just above that, at number 1, I have The Bride. The Bride, which tells the story of Frankenstein's bride. And I know a lot of people didn't like this movie, and I'm not saying it's the best movie, but I had some bits of fun with The Bride. I definitely could feel its runtime. I acknowledge that it is not perfect either at all. There are definitely some flaws, some flaws with this movie. And with the performance of Maggie Gyllenhaal, I thought her performance was fine. Now, I've had some space from it, so I don't think of it highly as much when I first saw it, but I did have some enjoyment out of it. I think there's something to say about how it's shot well, and that is mainly what put The Bride above everything else, because I think it's like the most shot well and acting wise entertaining movie. I do wish got a little bit more of the creation stuff. That's all I want from my Frankenstein movies in general. A critique I have with like the 2 Frankenstein movies I've reviewed on this channel, I said I wish I had more Frankenstein, like building the Frankenstein monster, and that's kind of here too. I wish I saw a little bit more than that. But going into the best of the year so far, at number 10, I have They Will Kill You. They Will Kill You grew on me, and this tells the story of a girl just trying to figure out what happened to her sister. So she checks in to this hotel to work to find out what happened to her. And again, a way I would describe it is funny for better or worse. There's gonna be a movie that's very similar to it that's much higher on this list. I don't think it's gonna stay number 10, but I think, it's shot well. I like the design. There were some scenes, some little bits of laughter that I had in this movie, and it has aged a little bit better for me, and it stands out more than the others below it to me. And at number 9, I have We Bury the Dead. I don't think this is also gonna stay in my top 10, but this basically tells the story of a woman who is trying to find her husband, so she signs up to help clean up after an outbreak. And I like this style of zombie movie. I think it's different and it's a unique take. I like how we follow this woman and the person along her trying to help her and trying to escape. There is an odd bit in the movie where they don't know how to quite transition the divide between 2 characters. That's such a little critique that I have. I do wish they didn't make them both cheat. I just wish it would have been better if she found him just cheating and she didn't cheat before. That's again something a nitpick I would have preferred they didn't do. I felt very mixed on this movie at the beginning of the year, but it has grown on me a bit. At number 8, I have Ghost Train. This is a horror movie, a foreign horror movie that tells the story of a woman who is a YouTuber who goes to this train station to tell stories that boost up her YouTube channel. But as she is getting closer and learning more and gaining more subscribers, the closer she is to the danger of this movie, of train station. This movie has great atmosphere. It's a anthology, so the first half isn't as good as the later half of the movie, but I do like how the time wraps around. So you begin at the end and you end at the start. Now, I didn't know that when I first watched it, so that was a pleasant surprise for me. I think some gore and some practical effects, very solid here, and this is just a movie that if I had to pick a movie like this, I would go for it because I think it's a very solid, really good atmosphere, whether being surrounded or not surrounded. So I really like this one, even though they do try to do a plot twist that if you see a movie like this before, you can totally pinpoint that he was dead or missing all along. So that was just kind of thrown in there. And the romance plot isn't the strongest point of the movie. I feel like that was kind of like thrown in last minute, or wasn't like fully thought of. But just above that, I have Send Help. Send Help tells the story of a woman who gets trapped on this island with her terrible boss, and she has to live with him. And I had a good time with this movie. I enjoyed it. I like the survivor bits. I like the humor. I think Rachel McAdams did a good job in this role and where the boss ends up. I do like how they made the fiance of the boss like an actual nice girl and not mean to Linda the entire time. So I like that aspect of the movie. There's one little critique that I have, which is her hand, because she kicks like onto the fiance off the cliff or something. She has her hand like that with her ring. I wish she had to like bury a bit, or like something was out where he had a feeling. I wish something would happen. That was like the only little bit that was a bit obvious in the movie, but I had a good time with the movie. I enjoyed this movie, and honestly, they did good. Very solid movie. But at number 6, I have Ready or Not 2. Here I come, very long title. And this again picks up right after the events of Ready or Not, where Grace has to face off other family members to gain the power of all they're all competing for. And you also have, the cast is really fun in this movie. You have Catherine Newton coming here. I enjoy her too. Very fun cast, very fun dynamics with the sisters, because you don't hear a lot about Grace's family. In the previous film, you see how she wants a family, so having your sister, that was very interesting dynamic. I had a really fun time with this movie. This came out around the same time as They Will Kill You, and I can't remember if I saw this. I think I saw this one first and then They Will Kill You. I preferred this one over They Will Kill You. I think there's some fun sequences. They do repeat some of the gags from the first movie, but this is just mainly a fun movie, fun cast. They do go with an angle where like the Satanists, but they all jump into the pit. That one, I'm now, as it's aged on me, I don't think that probably 100% fits. I'm not 100% confident in that as much as I am. I enjoy that bit, but I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that bit still. But overall, I had a good time with this movie. I liked it. Above that, I have 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Now, The Bone Temple got higher than I expected last year on my list, so 20 years later was higher on my list last year than I expected to be, so 20 Years Later, The Bone Temple ending up this high also surprised me. I had a good time with this movie. It aged better for me after. The things that hold it back for me is the CGI fire, and that scene is not great. And what surprised me actually is the pickup with the Jimmies, and that was such a weird way to end off that last movie, but I think they do with the Jimmies and the cult. I actually enjoyed that aspect of the movie. You do have that one scene I think a lot of people are talking about, heavy metal, and that is actually not my favorite bit of the movie. I felt very mixed on that at first, and I still feel very mixed on that. I'll have a little bit more fun with it now, but the angle it takes with the guy trying to teach the infected, I also enjoy that angle of the story. Very entertaining, definitely better than 28 Years Later, an improvement. I feel the ending, again, with even 28 Years Later, I felt like depending on what we see in the next film will determine how I actually feel about it. The whole movie is overall, and it definitely will impact how I feel about the movie the next time. So I enjoyed this one, but it could move depending on how the next one goes. But just above that, I have Over Your Dead Body. Over Your Dead Body tells the story of a couple who want to kill each other. They go on the cabin to kill each other, but their plans are foiled when they are stuck having to fight against and other people that come in trying to kill them. And I had a really good time in this movie. I enjoyed the cast of Samara Weaving. I really enjoyed her in this movie. There were some bits that were funny. Now, the scene that I don't like about this movie is they make a sequence of choice where they think they are going to essay the guy. And I did not like about this movie. It took the tone away from me. It definitely is a bad taste in my mouth. And I wish they cut that bit completely, and I still think that was absolutely unnecessary. And that definitely sours the movie a little bit for me. And I just wish they cut that. If they cut out that movie, I would have liked it more. But I still like this movie overall. The gore is solid. I think there are funny bits of the grandpa like going up to the cabin trying to help them was funny. Jason Segel also pretty good. Overall, just another solid movie. And number 4, this is the most recent one, with Leviticus. And this tells the story of 2 boys who are fighting what they want each other, and this is taken from an It Follows kind of style movie. Now, I was not the biggest fan of It Follows when I first saw it many years ago, so that was not an excitement point of view for this movie at all. And this was a total surprise for me. I had no expectations from this movie. I think acting wise, you were good, was a really good job. It had a really good atmosphere with the church. When you have that scene with the choir, it brought me back to a time when I was in that point in my life, being there and feeling comfortable and feeling like this just was not for me and just felt out of place. I think they did a job very well. And I like how you actually can tell the difference between who is real and who's not a part. And I do like how the beginning and the ending of the stuff actually are a mirror to each other. I also like that aspect of the movie. But where I'm more mixed on is the ending. And this is a preference, I would prefer if the ending wasn't as open-ended. Yes, I know the metaphors are throughout the entire movie, I get that. But I wish it wasn't as open-ended as it was. But this was a total surprise and I really liked it. But just above that, I had Hokum. Now, talk about a surprise. Hokum basically tells the story of this author, a writer who wants to go to honor his parents, and he finds himself in an experience where he is trapped trying to save someone after she saved him. And I like this one. Acting wise, I think it's good. I think it has really good creepy atmosphere. I saw this in the theater by myself late at night, so definitely a good positive theater experience behind it for me. I had a good time with this movie. I liked it. I thought it was definitely a good one and a solid surprise. Number 1, I have Obsession. Obsession tells the story of Bear, who has a crush on his friend Nikki, so he wishes on one wishful that she would love him more than anyone in the world. And his wish comes true in ways he did not expect and the worst way possible. Obsession was a really good movie. It had good acting. I think even having Nikki even do those scenes where she comes in and out of it, very good job on those scenes. This movie was again a total surprise, and the ending is a very big gut punch. I do wish we saw Nikki's full reaction to everything in the scene, but again, that's just a nitpick I have with this movie, but it has a lot of deeper meaning behind it. You see Nikki come in and out of it. I like how they make Bear someone like you could empathize at first and have him be a villain at the end of the movie. I think that was very good there. Good writing as well, and shot very well too. So that was my top 10 best and worst of 2026. Comment down below how many horror movies, new releases you saw this year and what your top 10 best or worst horror movies would look. This is all my opinions though, please keep that in mind and let's have a conversation.